Good day, everybody. In this video, I wanted to provide a quick demonstration of how the RXg can be used to help migrate the WLAN configuration from Zone Director to any of the other Ruckus wireless platforms. In this specific example, I'm going to use Virtual Smart Zone, but this could just as easily be Ruckus Cloud or Unleashed. First, let me explain the environment that I'm working in. On the top right-hand corner, I have a Zone Director that has 3 WLANs. The goal is going to be to move these 3 WLANs to SmartZone. And the way we're going to do that is by importing this configuration into RXg and then using config sync to push that configuration out to Virtual Smart Zone. The first thing that we need to do to make that happen is add the Zone Director to our infrastructure devices. And so we can do that under Network and Wireless. I'm going to hit Create New under WLAN Controllers. We'll call this Zone Director. I'm going to set the type to Ruckus Zone Director. My IP address. Depending on the software version, this API port may be 443. If it is, change it to 22. Admin is the username, and I'll put in my password. And then we'll go ahead and hit create. Next thing we need to do here is wait for the Zone Director to show online. And once it does, then we will press import over to the right here to bring in that configuration. You can see that there's already some communication happening because I see that the model number and version number have already been populated, so it should be online shortly. All right, the Zone Director is now showing online. So I'm going to go ahead and pan to the right here. And we're going to click import, then import. And so now these WLANs will be moved into the RXg under the WLAN scaffold. Okay. And then the next step is I'm going to push this configuration to the Virtual Smart Zone that has been installed on the RXg. So leveraging our virtualization technology, this Virtual Smart Zone actually exists on the same hardware as the RXg application as a VM. I'll link a video in the description below that demonstrates how to do that, but just wanted you to be aware of the architecture. So we have a separate Zone Director controller, and then we also have the RXg and the Virtual Smart Zone installed on the same host machine here. Okay, next thing we want to do is create a new WLAN controller. We'll call this Virtual Smart Zone. Change the type to Ruckus Smart Zone. Put in my password. And everything else should be okay here, so we're going to go ahead and hit create. Oh, does need to know where the IP address is. And this is at 5.5 on my network. So now we'll hit create. Okay, and the same thing here is we need to wait until this comes online before we can take the next step. Okay, I now show the Virtual Smart Zone online. So in this case, we're going to actually enable config sync. I'm going to click the red button here, sync not enabled. First thing I need to do is generate a diff. It says no changes are required. If there were changes, a difference between the config in the RXg and the config on the Smart Zone, it would list those here. And then when you enable config synchronization, it would apply those changes to the Virtual Smart Zone. So config is in sync. And now the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to change the controller for these WLANs from Zone Director to Virtual Smart Zone. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen here. We're going to edit. the management network, change that to Virtual Smart Zone, set the access point zone and the AP profile, and hit update. And then we're going to do the same with the remaining two networks. All right. And once this says the sync is complete, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this window back down so that we can see everything. And once this sync is complete, then we'll refresh. And now we see that the WLANs have been moved to the Smart Zone. The last thing that I'm going to do is, since we're retiring the Zone Director here, I'm going to go ahead and delete that from my WLAN controller list. It's just as simple as clicking delete here. And then we'll refresh this page. All right. And that completes the process for moving these WLANs to the Virtual Smart Zone from the Zone Director by way of the RXg. Hope you guys found this information helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day.